There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. A dimension of sound.
For the 150th time, you are not getting out of here. Please let me finish the Count of Monte Cristo.
A dimension of sight.
No change at all.
What? I think I look fine.
A dimension of mind. Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Fifth Dimension of Twilight Zone podcast. Once again, I am your host, Nick. I am sorry about my voice. I am coughing. It's not been a good week for me. I got really sick for some reason. Don't know why. I blame these two. Not really, but I blame Ohio and all that good stuff because I went on a trip to Ohio for a couple of days and I came back with some weird illness or some sort. So I apologize if I sound raspy, but we're back.
Not raspy.
We're back.
It's sexy. It's got that husky, I want to
that
fuck
Barry
everybody.
White voice going
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
Welcome back to the fifth dimension, baby.
Hey.
there was actually an episode of Friends where Phoebe gets really sick and she like loses her voice and like she becomes like sexy or something like that. It was really, really funny, but I don't know how
equating
sexy I'm
yourself
coming
with
off.
Phoebe.
People like deep voices.
Yeah,
I
no
know,
doubt.
right?
Deep voices.
I mean, there is
Yeah.
a segment of our audience that will, drop panties for you now.
Ooh.
I know. Some will even give you
Get
some
on
of that
the
hot cup of Uranus.
Get on the subwoofer, ladies.
Oh, good lord.
And like they say in Jurassic Park, those two crazy individuals you hear are my two arrows that shoot up in the sky every week. I was gonna come with something
Wow.
more, but
I mean,
I was gonna be
there are
like,
times that we get excited, but I don't know if we shoot up in the air.
You put this stuff out there for us.
I know,
and then
it's
you
why
set
I
it
do
up.
this podcast.
You
No,
set
but
it up.
but we have, of course, Triv and Jacob on the podcast as usual. Thank you for coming back as usual. As we always talk about, it's a fun podcast to do. But we have something to celebrate. Jacob finally cleared his eyeball in the background. Not really. It's Jeff. Jeff is now becoming Hefe. We're gonna call him Hefe.
My name is Hefe.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I decided he talks like this. Oh god.
My name Jeff.
Hefe.
No, the real celebration is Triv is now at almost 800 subscribers. Congratulations.
Yay.
You hit the big time this week, as we were gone. So I
Yeah,
have to say
yeah.
congratulations on that.
I threatened
No.
lots and lots of people to sub to me if they didn't.
Well, I mean, my bank account's in the negative now, so I mean, there was a reason for. No, I'm kidding.
Oh God, there'll be people that'll believe that.
No. It's all deserved. Like I said, you deserve every subscriber you get. So I just wanted to
cheers.
wish you congratulations on that.
Yes.
Well, thank
Everybody
you.
should subscribe to Triv. Her channel is awesome.
Ah, fuck, man.
Exactly. She talks about ice cream bunnies. What else more do you want? Like
Yeah.
killer condoms. That's
Elves.
all you need.
Elves
Yeah.
They do add to life.
taking over the world and whatever that shit you're talking about a while ago was. It was so much I couldn't even keep it all in my head.
It's a lot.
Exactly.
It's definitely a lot. Premise does not equal good movie, but that's okay.
I mean, that premise alone is probably enough. You rattled it off just like it was no thing. You just kept going. I was like, is she reading
at
this?
No, I'm just really good at rattling off really weird shit. So
Right on.
She's actually doesn't do a YouTube channel. This is a club that maybe a strip club, and they just call ice cream bunnies. And she was just rattling off the premise of it.
well, ice cubes can be rather sexy. So
I know, right? Right.
So can ping pong balls.
oh God, zombie strippers. Oh Jesus.
And
yes.
bubbles.
They
Wow.
bring you drinks.
So on this week on Twilight Zone.
Yeah. So anyways, we're back talking the Twilight Zone.
And
we were
Trip
talking about-
joins.
yeah, and we're talking about season 1, episode 15, which is called "I Shot an Arrow into the Air." This is directed by Stuart Rosenberg, written by Rod Serling, based off a I guess it's not based off anything. It's the music was also used in When the Sky Was Open. The production codes 173 3626 was just 26th episode recorded. And then the original air date was January 15th, 1960. So the episode stars Dewey Martin as Officer Corey, Edward Binns as Donlin, Ted Otis as Pearson, and those are like the three main actors. But so this episode is a sci-fi episode. It is an episode that I found I really like, to be personally honest. Now, is it the best Twilight Zone episode I've ever seen? Not really, but with you guys, as I always ask, what was your overall feeling going in? Do you guys remember this episode? Do you remember the plot, twist, and all that stuff?
I had known about this one. The premise I think I saw in Planet of the Apes before I saw this episode. So when I saw this episode, it was like, oh, well, this is a familiar premise. So I knew about it. It's a straightforward tale. Like there's not a lot of nuance. It's at least from what my perspective. But yeah, it's a really good episode.
I actually, just as you were saying that, I was reading something. I was listening to you too, but I was reading. I didn't know that according to this thing I'm reading, Rod Serling worked on the screenplay for the original Planet of the Apes, or at least did some work.
Yeah, he
on
was the early writer, and then somebody took over.
I did not know that. Well, I mean this particular one, that makes sense. I love Planet of the Apes, the original, all of them. The second one's, but I love Planet of the Apes, and especially the first one. But anyway, Twilight Zone. I shot an arrow in the air. It's I can't even remember the exact question. Yes, but I liked it. I figured it out early on, and it wasn't because I remember seeing it. I thought of it. There's a part where they talk about the sun for a second, and right then, and I mean, I'm not like the brightest person in the world that like I always figured the stuff out, but as soon as he said that, I was like, yeah, this. I don't want to say it yet because I know we wait till the end, but I was like, I think, is this what's going on? And then as it went on, I kept thinking, oh, he's gonna crest a hill, and and that's what it was. I still enjoyed it though. I still thought it was really good, and also I may have, we've been kind of jaded because we've come across a lot of stories since this. When this happened, I think maybe this whole idea was newer. Now we've run across a lot of things that are similar to this, much like Planet of the Apes. So I think maybe that just has me like ready to look for that stuff. Back then, you probably wouldn't have picked up on it, but I really enjoyed it. I thought this is a really good one. But like Trish said, it's straightforward. I mean, it's there's not a lot of subtext and all that like we get in some of them, but it was still an entertaining ride.
Very much so.
It's in essence about desperation is what it's about. It's about what will man do when they are put into a predicament like this. I mean, it being a sci-fi episode, like it is sci-fi, but it's also, I don't know, read anything about person, alive, the people that ate people and alive. It's about what you're willing to do and who's going to be crazy first. So
yeah.
That was something I was hoping. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, any good sci-fi isn't just surface sci-fi. Like there's like, again, and I talk a lot about B movies generally, but like those B movies, even though it's outrageous premises about, giant insects or things from outer space, they do talk about internal fears of that time, whether it's,
nuclear stuff.
Nuclear war or, impersonators from other worlds could be like infiltration from other countries. I mean, it all relates back to the human condition, just
paranoia.
Told 100%, but it's told in a way that masks it. I mean, Star Trek, this, Batman, whatever, it all kind of had those subtexts, and sometimes it's subtle and sometimes it hits you in the face like a freaking brick.
That's one thing I was hoping. All the twist aside for a second, it did, of course, from the get-go, as soon as they show the guys on the planet, you're thinking, well, they're showing, they're desperate, they really focus on the water. We've only got this so much water, we're on this asteroid, which they're always on asteroids in this show so far, but whatever. And I was really hoping they would have gone. I mean, they did, like Nick said, it is about desperation and all that. But I was like, are they going to kind of go like a Lord of the Flies kind of, but with adults kind of thing? Like, is it going to be what's going to happen here? And I was
slowly starting to get to that point. I mean, there was a point where I even thought the same thing. It was like, is it going to get to that point? And I don't think it really does.
I was hoping it would have. and it does go into the desperation and what we will do, what normal, good, wholesome people will do when they're put in a bad situation. But I was hoping it maybe would have like explored that a little bit more, and like not just showing it, but like explored some of the human side of that, and a little bit more than it did. As it stands, like we said, for a straightforward story, it's entertaining. It's still good, but I was just hoping to get a little bit more of that.
Yeah. That's fair.
Well, let's do this. We'll go in and talk about the narrative plot of it, just to kind of walk through it. It opens up. They're in a command center, like a Houston command center, which is very retro in its feel. Like they just knobs and blinking lights and stuff like that. There's no real essence of reality to. I always love that about these space episodes. There's no reality to the actual tech that they're using. It's just like what you would think of 50s sci-fi.
Oh, totally.
Well, it's all when you think, because I think about that, because they talk about in this one, they say don't they say it's the first rocket or whatever to go?
Yeah, it took 4 years to build, et cetera, et cetera.
It's that's going to leave the planet. And it always, every time in these shows when they talk about that stuff, like the other episode where they were on the other planet coming to Earth, and they were talking about these things, it's like it takes me, I don't think about it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, this is 1960.
Yep.
We hadn't left the Earth yet.
Mm-hmm.
We had not gone to the moon. We had not, it wasn't space travel, which I mean, it's not big now, but we hadn't put people out in space. So they didn't have like anything to go off of. Like They didn't have NASA. I don't know if NASA existed, but they didn't have like, spaceships that had gone up that everybody knew this is what they look like. So now we get these Flash Gordon looking things that go up in the air. And I was gonna say, you can look at like Disney. Walt Disney, when he did his specials, and they would show like the world of tomorrow. That's exactly what's happening here. The world of tomorrow is it's fantastical and Flash Gordon. You said, it's not like what it is now. So
one thing I found interesting, and I guess looking back on it, you can say, oh well, that's clearly not scientifically accurate, or maybe it was. Like you brought up the question last week about the distance between whatever planets, and I do wonder, like, obviously they probably did some research into science at that point, but I do wonder like how accurate the science was for that time, or if they were just pulling numbers out of their asses.
Probably not that accurate, honestly, because I mean they didn't. First of all, they didn't have all that stuff readily available to them,
true.
And some of it just didn't exist. I mean, we hadn't. I'm sure they were, but in 1960 they were working on, hey, how are we going to get up there? Of course they were, but I mean, hell, when they went up there in 1968, 9. When did we go? 7? 68, yeah. 68, yeah. When they went up there, that shit was like held together like with duct tape and toothbrushes. I mean, it was kind of slapdash then. So yeah, all that information didn't really, and they kept it all pretty close to the chest because they didn't want the Ruskies knowing about it, and the space race. So I don't think that information was really readily available. It was like some legit sci-fi. This is all they pulled this out of their ass.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's like a very world of tomorrow fantastical approach, as it always is, but it's actually more realistic than, let's say, last week's episode, where it's just a flying saucer and they're aliens. So, but the opening narration plays out at this point, and Jacob, I'll let you read that.
Yeah, that's my cue.
You have like three narrations in this one too.
Oh yeah, there's the middle one too. That's right. Okay. Her name is the Arrow One. She represents 4.5 years of planning, preparation, and training, and 1,000 years of science, mathematics, and the projected dreams and hopes of not only a nation, but a world. She is the first manned aircraft into space, and this is the countdown. The last 5 seconds before man shot an arrow into the air.
Bum, bum, bum.
One thing real quick.
Yeah.
The guy that directed this, on some credit releases, he's listed as Alan Smithy, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole joke behind that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like if someone didn't want their name associated with a thing, they would be put out as Alan Smithy.
Yeah. What did he? But not with this. With other things, he's done that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it said some listings credit Alan Smithy as a director of this.
Yeah.
This guy has some big credits. He directed Cool Hand Luke, Drowning Pool, Voyage of the Damned, Amityville
Nice.
Horror,
Amityville Horror.
Baker. Yeah, Let's Get Harry. So that's what I always think about. Let's Get Harry.
Let's get Harry.
Nice. Then you need some Nair if you're gonna get Harry.
Yeah,
I know. So, but anyway, so the head people that are part of this crew, they are talking about how the fact that they the I don't know what they're called, the command center people, they're like, oh, we lost the ship, we can't find it, it's gone. After it went into space, it disappeared. And I have a lot of questions about that. It's kind of the most unrealistic thing about this whole episode, but
is it though? Because we've lost
true.
ships before.
Yeah, as of that
Well,
time.
Like Apollo, I mean, sometimes they'll go up and I mean, I say we've lost them. They'll know where they are, but they can't track
Yeah.
it. Like there's times
Right.
they go into like a dark zone and they're somewhere between here and here. They should show up in like a little while. I mean,
Well,
That's
that's
kinda
the
like
question I
losing
have.
us.
Like, I guess wouldn't somebody see them? That's wouldn't somebody see like a big cloud of plume of smoke?
excuse me.
Well, if it's that far out, I'm not sure though. I mean, given the tech of
Yeah.
the time, if it was their first version, the chances are good that they might not have had the ability to track them well.
Yeah,
But still,
that's
they
true.
should have, okay, with the last contact we had was here because they had radar. The one thing I did wonder,
Yeah.
did you guys think did the control room at all remind you guys of the war room from Doctor Strange?
Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, it makes sense. But pretty much this episode is very contained. It takes place in almost like a singular location, which it was filmed in Death Valley at Zabriskie Point, which is, if I read right, featured prominently on the cover of U2's Joshua album, and it was used in the 1960 film Spartacus and also used in The Mandalorian. But
That's been used
Basically-
here too before. hasn't
Oh
it?
yeah, tons. It was
They've
used in
used
the
it
quite a
bit.
the Lonely episode.
The Death Valley. It's been it's a staple of the Twilight Zone.
It is.
apparently, yeah.
Anytime they're out in like an asteroid or another planet, it's fucking Death Valley.
Well, it's good to know that every planet looks like Death Valley.
Yeah.
But basically, these guys have crash landed on what they think is an asteroid, and this is where we're introduced to Corey, Donlin, and Pearson. The other characters, the other individuals, because there was 8 individuals, have died, or Peerdek is getting ready to die. He's on his deathbed because of Corey's assholeness, I guess you could say.
He's a
Was it
dick.
But
I thought he had been injured. Like,
He had been.
well, he
in
was
the-
injured, but Corey's like, oh, I don't want to give him any water, blah blah blah. It's like a whole bunch of people fighting over,
Yeah.
Look at
necessities,
see,
I guess.
this guy's gonna die. He's gonna die soon.
Yeah,
See,
fuck.
yeah. I ain't wasting my water. See, he does. He said he talks like a gangster at times. He's like,
He
look here,
does.
see. I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
I was kind of surprised for all this. I mean, obviously they didn't have a lot of supplies, but poor dude is laying out there in the sun. They didn't even make up any kind of a mock tent or anything to keep him,
Just
cool.
out in the elements.
Yeah.
And he can hear everything they're saying. He's like, his eyes are open. He's
Yep.
hurt, but he is conscious. And they're like, he ain't getting none of my water. He's gonna die anyway. It's like, for fuck's sake. The guy's probably
That's
like,
like-
well,
Well, and why didn't
It's like
they
being on the
store that-
battlefield and not getting morphine.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and why didn't they? I mean, and I know that you have to maintain a certain amount of properness, but they're obviously hot and sweaty and they're on, this asteroid and stuff. Why didn't they take off a layer or, at least, pull their jumpsuits down around their waist or something so they could at least stay a little bit cooler?
right. I would have been bucket ass naked out there.
Exactly.
I was like, all right, gentlemen, it's all good. We get the same shit. It's hot as out here. Taking this shit
man.
off.
Morality can go out the damn window.
Yeah. Then the end would have come along. I'd been at the top of a mountain, like, oh, hey. Anyway, getting ahead of myself.
Ahead.
But
Oh.
anyways, Donald and Corey, Corey's starting to lose his shit throughout this entire episode. He's starting to go more and more insane. He's like, it's just the way he kind of like degrades and stuff like that. And there's actually a thing that Donald does when Corey's like, don't give him any water. He's like, if he needs water, he's gonna get water. If he needs shade, he's gonna get shade. I'm like, cool. This guy
He
actually
needs-
cares about.
You need
Yeah,
shade
exactly.
though right now. Why don't you get
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Yeah, we're
Well,
gonna
he
make
must
Corey
have been
into a
the
shade.
surgeon. I think the Donnellan was a surgeon or was supposed to be a surgeon or something. Yeah, their med or their tech or something. Or that supposed to be their med tech, I think.
This is the second Death Valley episode we've had where people from spaceships came down, and there's some dickhead who just keeps on talking shit about somebody else, by the way.
Exactly.
It's becoming a trope, and I'm not sure how to feel about that.
Yeah. I actually want to go back real quick. This episode's title is based off a nursery rhyme, which is called "I shot an arrow into the air. Where it landed, I know not where," which I thought was pretty cool.
That is.
So, yeah, they say it in the beginning, right before it goes to the guy in the control center does.
As he looks longingly out a window, he lays out this nursery rhyme
with his like hands on his hips and his tie just pulled. He looks like the guy from Airplane that's in the control tower. Sniffing glue. I picked the wrong day to stop methamphetamines.
I picked a bad day to stop.
I shot an arrow up into the air.
It's a twister, NEM. It's a twister.
It's the wrong day to stop sniffing glue.
It's metal.
Oh man, Lloyd Bridges.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Lloyd Bridges.
Yep. So there's not really much to talk about with this part because the second part is where like a lot of the major stuff happens. But basically, Corey's going insane. Donald's trying to save everything. Pearson is trying to smack Corey around to get him to like relax. Pierdiak is dying, and the rest of the people are dead, and they're on an asteroid that has literally no water, no life, and somehow has the same rotation as the Earth, which is very telling. Yep. Or the sun, the sun. And Pierdiak dies, and then they decide they're going to go on tour to see if they can find life-saving materials, and that's pretty much the end of that first act. There's not really much else to talk about, and so I have to ask, what do you guys think of the first act? Is there anything else you want to add to it that I'm missing? That type of thing.
It made me have to pee because they talked about water so much.
They did talk about water a lot. Yeah. But you know what they never talked about? Food, which I understand water is more important than food. But he makes a point, and I did actually kind of like it. I was like, that's true. He said, you see that rocket over there? It took 4 years for them to make. They didn't make any prototypes. There are no other ones. So it's going to take, if they are going to come and get us, it's going to take them 4 years to make another one. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so right now you're here for a while. You have some water, which is a concern, but nobody ever mentions food.
No.
I mean, I guess them bodies over there.
Oh.
Cutting out ass meat like on a live, Yeah. Yeah. Just saying, just throwing that out there. I like the beginning. I can't review when or not true, but I thought the beginning was very classic Twilight Zone setup. That's how these episodes are always, the first third is kind of like the setup. Then we see it kind of like build a little bit more in the second half or in the second third. And then in the last third, that's when it, plays out and we get that twist of fate.
Yeah.
So I like the setup. I mean, I wasn't bored. Like I said, I kind of figured it out right there at the end of the first act. I thought I did, and I did. But I think that may have just been because I just happened to think of that right when it happened.
Possibly. I will say that they're canteens, and I don't know if that's like the way that canteens are generally designed or if they came up with them specifically for this, but like every time they took a drink, like water would flow down their mouths or whatever. And I'm just thinking that isn't the smartest kind of canteen design, for what they've landed.
Imagine how hot that water is.
Well, not even that so much as like they kind of sat out weird on the side. So every time they went to take a drink, like it there was no way for it not to like spill out.
And they were like chrome. So
yeah,
they're going to be hot as shit. Like Nick said about the water, but they're going to be hot themselves. I'm like, this was not a good design.
No,
I don't think NASA put this Tesla. This is SpaceX, not NASA.
The other thing I was thinking was, I don't think that this would have worked in color. Do you? Like the way, and I know
I don't think any of these episodes would have worked in color.
Yeah. I mean, it's like taking Seinfeld and setting it today. Half their problems could have been solved by cell phones. And I kind of feel like color would have like taken away the mystique of this episode.
I mean, we say that, but like you shoot black and white different than you do color. So
no, true.
If you add color to it, it's gonna look weird because you shoot black and white totally different. No, so
that's true. That's true.
You gotta wonder how would they have shot it.
Yeah, I just mean that like if you've got blue skies and like rock of different colors of tans and browns, you're not gonna, it's not clear. I mean, you're kind of taken out of that moment of it being okay. You know, you kind of lose that, you know, theater of the mind as far as it being on a different planet.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Every time they're on an asteroid in these things, because they're always an asteroid, not a planet. Whenever they're on another asteroid in the Twilight Zone, it's just a planet. I mean, it's got a sun, it's got like a day-night cycle, and I was like, I don't think asteroids work like gravity. I'm like, I don't think they work that way. I think it would be like, I mean, it'd be a big fucking asteroid.
Well, you think like as bad as Armageddon is, like when they're digging on the asteroid, I think that's probably more truthful to what an asteroid would be, and not, you know.
Yes, I mean, Armageddon got it right, and you didn't. It was 1960. We'll give you a pass.
Exactly.
Right, old buddy.
I don't know.
Plus, Aerosmith wasn't a thing yet, so.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, every time I land on an asteroid, I always think about, you know, an Aerosmith song.
Yeah.
Only
place you can get that song, by the way. Not on any other albums, only on the soundtrack to Armageddon, by the way.
Armageddon on.
I will close my eyes. Just...
I think it's on that soundtrack and the Saints Row 4 soundtrack.
Dude, there are songs on Saints Row 4. You Got the Touch, where you just do like a fly in the air as soon as they go, you got the touch. You got the power.
They have awesome needle drops.
Exactly. Oh. Anyway, so we come back.
Tangent Central.
Exactly.
Not my Saints Row.
We gotta make this an hour long, you know. So
I don't think you've had a problem with that since I joined this podcast.
Oh man.
Proud to have you.
So
Jake.
Sad thing is, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this and whatever amount of time it ends up being after Nick hacks and cuts it away, we talked probably a solid 45 plus minutes before we started, and who knows what happens after.
Things get crazy on the after show.
Yeah.
We're only like a minute into the episode.
Yeah. Fifth Dimension After Dark.
Yeah, exactly.
After Hours.
Fifth Dimension After Dark.
I don't think you guys can see it, but Nick's just shaking his head. He's just like, oh, let him get it out of their system.
Exactly.
He's making marks.
Well, there's a reason that you can't see my hands.
Cut ends there. Oh my. That's why she's always smiling like that.
Oh my god, this is when I got demonetized.
Anytime you see my eyebrows go like this.
The first
this poor episode, it's not getting the near the love it deserves. Oh my god.
All right.
I think we talked more about Airplane than we have about I shot an arrow into the air.
All right, so we continue with the episode, and Corey comes back, and it's night, and there's stars and rocks, but he found
there's
nothing.
No stars because it's overcast. He couldn't navigate by the stars.
Oh, so he just comes back with nothing. He comes back. He comes back. Exactly. But Pearson doesn't come back. He's Corey says he went south towards the mountains. Corey went west towards nothing. Donlin basically is very suspicious of this. He's like, so you guys went together and then you separated in the middle of an asteroid where you have no idea where you're going. That doesn't make any sense. And
gotta keep them separated.
Oh, Jesus. At this point, Donlin tells him that tells Corey, "Did you kill him?" Basically, and Corey's like, "I didn't kill him. I didn't do anything." And yeah, that's when he admits it. Yeah, exactly. He found him face down in the dirt.
He fell on some bullets.
It was like that when I got here.
Yeah,
he fell on bullets.
Yeah, why is his back pants open? What are you even doing out there? I mean, it was the 60s. I mean, it was all about free love. I'm telling you,
free love, man.
Well, that and sexual repression. It was kind of both of those. So
yeah, as soon as it hit 1960,
just
it went like
came
that.
Off.
Yeah, there you go. He's got those tearaways.
Pants optional.
Basically, Corey is told that he has to go with him with Donnelly to find Pearson, and they travel like Moses through the desert, searching for rocks and goats, maybe, and Pearson. Exactly.
Burning bushes.
Maybe the singing bush.
Invisible knights. Oh wait, that was Three Amigos. Never mind.
So they eventually get to the point where Corey and Donlin or Corey and Pearson were supposed to be. Pearson's not there. They go a little bit further. They find Pearson somehow barely alive, even though it's like 18 hours later. The guy has no water. His canteen had a hole in it, apparently. I mean, it's just, or no way, that was Donlin's water canteen.
That was at the very end. He gets shot.
It's like spoilers.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just killed it.
Nah. Oh yeah, you killed it. This podcast is over.
What's the point? Jesus Christ.
Well, shit.
So anyways, so we get to the point where Donlin pretty much, is talking to Pearson, who's barely alive, and he draws, like in Stargate, some sand in the dirt or whatever, a sign of some sort, and it leads to Corey killing Donlin with his own rifle. And I mean, it's really just not really like riveting stuff to talk about, because it's basically them walking through the desert looking for Jesus and then finding a dead guy in the ground. And I'm trying to make this more exciting than it really is.
This is like the Two Towers. It's just a lot of walking.
Exactly. But I mean, you guys can elaborate if I'm missing something about this section of the episode, because it doesn't really get interesting. And really, like, the point where it really sets itself apart is when he kills Donlin, and then we go into another quest with Corey. But were you guys enjoying this portion at all? Was it something you go, oh my God, I was watching him, try to go to Mount Doom or something like that? I mean, what was your guys' overall take? I mean, if you guys want to add anything else.
I thought I'm with you. This was probably because they weren't doing anything you didn't see coming. And you didn't see, like, you knew when he put that gun down, you knew what was going to happen there, or at least you knew that he was going to go for the gun. And they're just walking for a while. They're just like walking, looking for this guy, this body. And that's when I wish maybe they had inserted some dialogue or something of them talking that maybe would, because, my gears start turning, and I was like, maybe we're being led to believe that Corey, because he's a dick, is the one who is going to like take everybody out and go haywire. And like, he's going to be the one that out of desperation becomes this crazy person. But maybe it'll end up actually being, was it Donovan, the colonel? Maybe it'll end up being him. Like, they'll get into something. Maybe they're going to like twist it around that way, and he'll end up being the one. And then, the ending thing will happen. But no, it was just kind of straightforward. Okay, he goes, he finds the body, he draws tic-tac-toe, and then he takes the gun and shoots him. So yeah, it was kind of, I wasn't bored, but it was just like,
no, it's not boring. It's just, it feels like it's like the Lonely all over again. It feels like there's something that needs to happen in the middle section. Like maybe they find I don't know, a hermit or something, and they're on Tatooine. I don't know, find something. Maybe find a dead Jawa or something. I don't know. But I mean, what about you, Trip? Did you feel like it needed something more? I mean, I know what I was talking about was very dry and very boring, but it's just, there's not really much to talk about in this first 2/3 of the episode. Yeah,
no, I would agree. Weird. I mean, they brought up some interesting bits, talking about the sun being in the location that it was, and the fact that it was overcast. I thought those were clever bits. But overall, it's pretty. I don't think you would have gotten, at least when this was done, I don't think you would have had that twist of the good guy being actually going nuts, just because of how things would have happened back then. If someone is put out there as a rat bastard, they're going to kind of be a rat bastard regardless.
Yeah, because the episode, especially when we get to the end, remind me a little bit of The Mist, especially in the ending. But it's just really weird because, we have the bat. He's essentially the antagonist. He has been the entire episode. But when he kills everybody, and then in a second I'll let you read the narration that he reads, Serling reads. I felt like, I'm like, why is this there's got to be something that happens to this guy where it's going to completely fall apart his character, and it definitely does happen. But I mean, he finds a hole in the cantina, which I thought, or the canteen, which I thought was interesting because he never really worries about it. He's just like, oh, whatever, the canteen's gone. And then he goes on a quest to find out if there's anything out there, and that's when we get I know I keep going back to 10 Commandments, but there's a whole segment of 10 Commandments where the narrator is just reading or just saying stuff while what's his name, not Moses, but the guy who plays Moses,
Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston is walking up the
Chuck
mountain
Heston.
towards Chuck Heston.
Chucky Heston.
The Rifle Association, Chuck Heston.
And Damn Dirty Apes, Planet of the Apes.
Exactly. This is probably where he got the evidence. I know. That's probably where he got Rod Serling got his idea from. But anyways, so like in Ten Commandments, there's a whole 2-paragraph dialogue that Serling reads while Corey is moving through the mountains. And if you want to read all of it, I'm more than happy to let you. There's a lot. So
sure, why not? I got one job here. Okay.
All right. You've got more than one job. One real quick thing before
Hefe's
that.
watching you.
Yeah, exactly. One real quick thing before that, though, the way that Serling reads this, he's so good at being eloquent, but just taunting the shit out of the guy. The one episode where he talks about what was the episode? What you want? The way he describes that guy, I get the same vibes on the way he talks to Corey in this one. It's that same feel.
This is also, with that, this narration was apparently the only time he had done this up to this point, and he doesn't do it again until season 3, the mid show narration.
Right. I think there was one other one that he did it with, Walking Distance. He did. So that was a few before this one.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's
it
okay.
Says opening narration feature rare. Oh, it says it's rare. Never mind. Rare. It doesn't happen again. I guess. Right. Yeah, it doesn't say it hadn't happened before.
Well, it's only 4 episodes over the course of the entire series. So that's pretty rare.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's read this. Let's read this prolonged mid-section thing. Now you make tracks, Mr. Corey. You move out and up like some kind of ghostly billy club was tapping at your ankles and telling you that it was later than you'd think. You scrabble up rock hills and feel hot sand underneath your feet, and every now and then take a look over your shoulder at a giant sun suspended in a dead and motionless sky, like an unblinking eye that probes back at your hand in a prolonged accusation. Mr. Corey, last remaining member of a doomed crew, keep moving. Make tracks, Mr. Corey. Push up and push out, because if you stop, maybe sanity will get you by the throat. Maybe realization will prey upon your mind, and the heart you left down in the sand will seep in. Yeah, Mr. Corey, yeah. You better keep moving. That's the order of the moment. Keep moving. I didn't notice he had that whole, yeah, Corey, yeah. Holy shit, that was so long, I'm losing my voice.
Oh, no. Take a drink.
Oh, all good.
Vocal exercises.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like I said, it's reminiscent of when they do the narration in a movie where it almost feels like he's doing it to keep the episode interesting, kind of given the state of mind of Corey himself. And also kind of he's looking from What If, the Watcher, he's looking down on Corey himself, kind of judging him. I think you said, Triv, judging who Corey is and stuff like that. His final testament or whatever you want to call it when he dies, and he's going to whatever religion, hell or heaven he's going to go to or whatever. But it's really interesting. It's it gives us some context, I guess you could say. And like I said, Rod Serling doesn't do it very often, but when he does it, it seems like a well-placed thing.
Yeah.
The one thing I did want to say about this episode is Madeline Champion actually was at a party and talked about this episode, kind of an outline. Serling paid her $500 and gave her an on-screen credit, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So it was the only suggestion ever made for the Twilight Zone. But
you said that I just realized there's no women in this at all, is there?
No.
Not one, not even in the background.
They didn't even call the shuttle she or whatever.
Yeah. It was Arrow.
The shuttle she.
Phallical.
Yeah. I did like the line about Billy Club tapping at your ankles. That was kind of a neat line.
He has a way with words, man. He really does.
Yeah. Very much so.
Very
just
poetic.
poetic.
He's like Stephen King in that way that he can take word. He can say a simple thing in such a complex and interesting way that really makes you see it and feel it.
Very much.
You just can't end stories. That's his problem.
And he can't do sex scenes.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. I'm telling you what.
Yeah, cocaine and alcohol all mixed together.
Good thing you didn't get hit by a truck at that point or a vehicle.
Hey, if you've ever read on that, I know this is all getting cut. That's fine, but that whole thing about how he get hit by the truck. He put himself in his own book.
Yeah, he put it in the Dark Tower.
Yeah, he's in is the Dark Tower and the Song of Susanna. I think he's in that one too.
Yeah.
He was the same series, but yeah, he wrote himself and that whole situation into a fucking book. I'm like, how would you like to be the motherfucker that hit him? But he put you in a book to be forever immortalized as the asshole who ran over Stephen King.
But don't you think too that was a way to kind of like work through that kind of trauma? Because people will often like do the write it out or do
I would say yes, but it's more of like wanking yourself off. It's like,
dude, you know what? I don't give a shit. He got hit by a truck or van or whatever. He deserves to put it wherever the hell he wants to.
He says now, though, he says if he could change anything, he wouldn't have put himself in his own book. He said that was some of the
that's an M. Night Shyamalan move.
But it was done really well. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, as far as like writing an actual writer into their own book, it's kind of jarring, but it was done well. Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely stroking his ego.
Anyway, so this is where we get to the twist ending, and Corey is climbing over the mountain, and basically he sees something in the distance. Rod Serling's dialogue is still going, and then what we see is a sign for Reno, Nevada, and a truck and a bus, and another sign for Las Vegas. So power lines. Yes, the guy. Exactly. So the guy, Corey, basically did exactly what they did in The Mist, as well as Planet of the Apes, where a bunch of people died for no reason. They were still on Earth, or the military was coming through the fog. And Corey's like on the ground screaming, "You damn dirty military or astronauts," or whatever he's doing.
And he goes crazy. It really, like, he plays like shocked, momentary losing your mind really well.
Yeah, because he's like really happy that, oh, I'm on Earth. Oh fuck, I'm on Earth.
He's like, God damn it,
I need a shovel. I can fix this.
Yeah, man. He's like, damn it, I'm 39 miles away from a shovel. Yeah. By the time I get back, they'll be eaten by buzzards and whatnot. Yeah. So
you gotta wonder what happened after the credits rolled on this. Did he just say, I'm going back out into the desert?
Well, his will to live was so strong. Like, just like, he went through all that. I have a hard time thinking that
they shot each other. He shot him, and then he fell on a rock.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he could try to run to another country until the military finds him, and he realizes that he's still alive, and they're like, so yeah, did you have like 8 people with you when you're flying? And I mean, you could be like, they're dead, and like, oh, can you show us the crash site? No, it burned up in the wreckage. Well, how are you still alive?
We ate him.
Well, the thing is, they lost track of the spaceship, so the chances are good. Like, if everything went down, electronics were offline, trackers were offline, there's a good chance that they were far enough out that they may never find it.
I just don't know how anybody couldn't see a large plume of smoke in the air. I mean,
there are remote places, but you see it, but you're like, oh, did I actually see it? Or it turns into one of those things where, like, someone super remote goes, I saw aliens, I saw because it was Roswell was right around then. Mm-hmm. Was that in the 50s, right? Roswell?
I think
it was the 50s.
So I mean, it wasn't unheard of for that time. Well, not saying it's a good substitute, but
1947 actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't think we're supposed to think about it that much.
Probably not,
because it is. Yeah, I think this, like Nick said in the beginning, it is about desperation. What we, I think I said this, but we were on the same track as, like, good people that get put in bad situations that maybe make bad decisions and would do things in these certain situations that they typically would not do.
Right.
And so he was put into that situation and he did what he felt he had to do to survive. But then he finds that's the shitty part, is like, oh no, I wasn't really in that situation. If I just walked a little further, if we'd worked together, if I had done what they told me all along and just helped, we could have all made it out of this alive. And now he's got to live with that.
What person do you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was saying, to be fair, we, like you said, we'd all do this. I mean, we don't know where we're at. We're all gonna make that mistake. I mean, it's an honest, like, it legit is a realistic approach to a fantastical look. I mean, even though they're on Earth, I mean, you gotta think if your mind's losing it because you're in the desert, you have like barely any water. It's very likely something like this could happen. I mean, I'll probably be the first to die since I'm like, 500 pounds or 400 pounds. They'll probably eat me first, but
killing all you motherfuckers, killing exactly. Taking your water. I'm gonna eat the shit out of all of you. You're gonna find me out there in a little skin hut.
But what kind of a person do you think? And obviously, we only get a very like one-dimensional look at Corey. But what kind of person do you think Corey was? Like, do you think he was okay, people, or was he just always?
Absolutely. See, I'm glad you said that because that's something I thought of earlier. I wanted to mention. I think it would have made it even more interesting had they shown, even if it was just a few minutes, maybe before the crash, if we had seen these people, like you said, what kind of people were they before? If maybe we had seen them before and like who they were, and it established at least Corey as a, a solid, upstanding guy. But then, you put him in that bad situation and it's like all bets are off.
Right. Well, you can even say that about Donovan. Like, what kind of like he turned where, the team was everything, like turned into a proper, I mean, generally speaking, a proper leader for that end bit. But he could have been.
They mentioned that about him in the beginning because I remember they said, I don't remember why. Yeah, they said, oh no, such and such Donovan's in charge. Bill Donovan's in charge. He'll keep it all together. He would have contacted if he could.
True.
Well, this reminds me of Stowaway, the movie Stowaway, with came out this year, I think it was. But it's about 3 astronauts who are going to, I think, Mars, and somebody gets caught up where there's this mechanic or this guy who works on the ship. He gets knocked out, finds himself on the ship as a stowaway, and they have to make the tough decision to either kill him or somebody's going to die because they don't have enough food rations. It's the same thing. Like, they're good people. He could have been a good person. He could have been a teacher. I mean, look at what's his face from Walking Dead, Negan. I think he was like a family man or something like that, and desperation caught up, and he became a guy that bashes Asian people in the face and stuff like that. So
I haven't seen that season yet. Thanks.
So you're not missing much.
Yeah, no, I stopped watching it right around. I think it was the season before that. I kind of was like, oh,
yeah, okay. I kind of fell off too.
Yeah, I know that Glenn gets killed by him.
Lucille, yeah.
Because actually, I was right there when you remember they did that Glenn fake out kill on the dumpster that made no sense. I was before he came back. He had died, and we were all like, he ain't dead. And somewhere before he came back, that's where I stopped watching. Side note, has nothing to do with the Twilight Zone, but hey,
nah,
that's what I'm here for.
That's
to read narration and derail this motherfucker.
You know what?
You serve more purpose than I do.
Oh, please shut up. So you know
this. You shut up. Oh, right, bullshit.
The episode ends.
Sounds like an Atari game. It's Galaga. It's Pac-Man. Waka 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 waka. What is going on here?
I have no idea. We're totally gone off the rails.
Yeah, anyway, so before I ask you guys what you thought of the entire episode, like the overall plot, go ahead and end us with the closing narration.
Oh, of course.
There's like another part.
Practical joke perpetuated by Mother Nature in a combination of improbable events. Practical joke wearing the trappings of nightmare, of terror and desperation. Small human drama played out in a desert 97 miles from Reno, Nevada, USA, continent of North America, the Earth, and of course, the Twilight Zone.
I do really like how they talk about the like a small human drama, because you think about like all the stuff that went down, but it did ultimately come down to a relatively small drama if you take it from the overwhelming perspective.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not a very big in scope episode. Outside the beginning, it's very contained. There's not really much to it.
Isn't it one of the more popular episodes among people? Don't people like consider it to be one of the better or best ones or something like that? Or am I just?
I think people. I think you'd find it on like New Year's Day, maybe like hour 14 or whatever, but I mean, I think what makes it popular is it's just a very simple, you don't really have to think about, we're not going too deep into like the context of the episode outside of it being a desperation episode. And it has a nice twist to it. I mean, it has a, like you said, Planet of the Apes twist to it. It's guy walks over the mountain, finds he's in Reno, Nevada, and there you go. That's the end of the episode. And
he goes to Reno and he doesn't have any chips.
Exactly.
I think the twist would have been, I alluded to this earlier a bit, but it would have been probably much more, not relevant, but more impactful in 1960. Nowadays, it's like, oh, this again. It's like, it's almost like the it was all a dream thing. The first time that happened, it was like, oh, my. Now it's like, really, guys, come on. And I mean, I'm not disparaging this for that, because I know this came out in 1960. Whether it was the first or not, I don't know, but it was early. It had to be one of the first. So it was probably a lot more, oh my God, he's on Earth. They've been here all along. Now it's kind of like, oh, he's on Earth.
That's no asteroid. That's Reno.
My mother. It's no asteroid. That's
trap.
an asteroid.
No, he's definitely
That's
going to Reno
asteroid,
to get
it's
some asteroids. Asteroids. Asteroids.
I'm not commenting. I feel as if I'm being baited.
Yes, you have, but that's okay.
So, with that said, with the episode now over, overall thoughts, anything you wanted to add to the episode to clarify? Anything I didn't talk about? What was your, if you would put this in perspective of like what we watched so far, what do you guys think of it?
Is this the rating, or are we just talking?
No, I'm just asking you overall thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's a solid episode. Like last week's, it's if you wanted to introduce someone to Twilight Zone with the understanding that this was a thing of its time, I think this is a good, solid, straightforward episode that people, regardless of who you are, you're going to get this episode. I think
it was. I think it's a solid episode. It's not the most thoughtful episode. It's one of the episodes that, like, the thoughtfulness and the impact of it is all, it's top heavy or bottom heavy, whichever. It's all in the end. It's all in the end. Like the ending, before the ending, yeah, there's a little bit of the whole desperation thing, but you really get all the impact of it is right there in the very end. And unlike like the one, what was the one with the old man who could give you what you need? Yeah. That one had stuff to think, and even The Lonely, to a degree, there were things you were thinking about and deeper messages throughout the whole thing, and then you get something in the end. You don't get that throughout this one. There's not much. There's a little bit of a deeper thing, as we mentioned, about desperation, what people do and who we really are, but for the most part it's pretty straightforward, and you get set up and then you're waiting for the punchline at the end.
Mm-hmm. I do think too that just
payoff.
Like you look at our conversation, like for all of the, normally with an episode that has a lot to say, we're sitting there gabbing about that forever and a day. I mean, here we've tangented, but it's been away from a lot like the center core of this episode. So I think that does say something too. And not to say that the episode is bad, because it's not by any stretch, but there's not a lot to say about it beyond the basics. It's
like the other one that comes to mind that took place in Death Valley that has similarities to this one, The Lonely.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first one I did on here. This movie or this episode would have been Armageddon. The Lonely was, what was the other? What was the Deep Impact?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
yeah.
Similar, stories. One's more deep and thoughtful, and there's more going on in it, like subtext. This one over here is just,
it's Aerosmith.
Fun. Yeah, fun time. So I mean, both of them have their pluses and minuses, but I mean, they're both a good time.
Yeah, I personally think that if it weren't for this ending, this episode would have fallen apart. Like, because it needs that ending to have any kind of semblance of any real purpose. I mean, yeah, you have them on an asteroid. Maybe they're, I don't know, on Mars or something like that. I guess you could do that. It really, you can't have this episode without it being on Earth. It doesn't make any sense. It would be very poorly drawn out, I guess you could say.
I feel like the ending was that some of them, like we said a second ago, yeah, like there might be that twist in the end of just about all episodes, but some of them, it's like they have something else they want to say, and that's their focus is how do we, talk about these issues or social, observations and stuff. This is one of the ones, like we watched another one, I can't remember what it was, but this is one of the ones where it's like the whole thing is set up for the end. They know that, hey, we're doing setup, bam, payoff, big payoff. And that's fine. I mean,
yeah, not every episode needs prejudice and racism in it. So
yeah.
Well, and that's the thing that's what makes Twilight Zone good, is the fact that it does have it. Not every episode, and I don't think it would have obviously lasted at the distance that it did if it didn't have a variety of different things to say. But yeah,
it's better than the four of us are dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, only the two of us are dying right now, apparently. So with that said, I think we're all in agreement. It's a good episode. It has some flaws with its kind of pacing and kind of storytelling elements, but once you get to the ending and you see exactly what's happening and you kind of see where Rod Serling and the company was going, I think you have yourself a pretty solid episode. Maybe not top 5, but if this episode were to show up on TV, I don't think you'd be hating yourself for watching it, I guess is what it comes down to. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. So with that said, so that I can stop coughing so much because my throat is dying right now. Hold on a second. With that said, so right now, we'll do the Twilight Zone list, the rankings. The question I always have, and have you watched any more episodes, Jacob? Have you had any time?
No.
That's fine.
I will have it done before the end of the year.
Yeah, no worries.
Maybe if I don't, then I will have it done before the end of that year.
So let me ask you guys this. As I always say, is this better than Escape Clause? Escape Clause is, remember, the devil.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
I really need to watch that one. We hinge our ratings on Escape Clause every week. And I need to watch it. I have to watch that this week. I have to watch
it's
that.
Weird. The only reason I do it because it's the middle of the pack. Yeah. So it's true. Yeah. Because here's what we got. I sent you guys the list, by the way, if you guys want to look at it again. But we have Third from the Sun, What You Need, Perchance to Dream, One for the Angels, Time Enough at Last, Walking Distance Above, Escape Clause. Do you think it's better than any of those episodes?
I don't think. I mean, I can't say it's Escape Clause, but I have, I've seen, and When the Sky Was Opened and The Lonely, which are lower than Escape Clause, they're 8 and 9. I enjoyed this one, but I do like a little bit of substance, and this one did have a few slow moments. Still like the episode, and this isn't to say it's bad, but I honestly, when I put the two next to each other, I think I like The Lonely slightly better because they are similar in nature. Sure. I mean, the twist is different, but it is still that kind of, oh, we thought it was this thing, but it's that kind of situation. Yeah. But you got a little bit more substance with The Lonely throughout, and a little bit more to chew on and think about. Yeah, and I like that, and nothing wrong with kind of the popcorn episodes like this one. But I think for me, I don't, and that would put it at number 10, which makes me feel bad because I don't think it was a bad episode. No. But I like The Lonely better.
But you remember, it's like 165 episodes, so number 10 at this point is going to be probably in the top 50 at some point. So I mean, it's not.
It's just close to the four of us are dying.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, the only 2 episodes that we've run across so far that really weren't, I guess what you'd call like Twilight Zone level average good was 16 millimeter and The Four of Us Are Dying, and even those aren't terrible. I mean, I was honestly in the same boat. I kind of felt like this ranked right around The Lonely, like one up or one down from it was kind of where I was thinking.
Well, let me ask you this. Is this episode better than Judgment Night?
I feel like Judgment Night had more substance, but it was going for a message.
Yeah. Do you think this episode is better than Mr. Denton on Doomsday?
Is it bad? I can't remember much about that episode.
Well, that was the one with the guy who was a drunk and he was
he's a Western, right.
Yeah, with the
oh God, I think I like Mr. Denton on Doomsday better than this, but I don't know. Like this feels my thought was to rank it right around The Lonely. Like I'm good going with Jacob's thought and ranking it right underneath The Lonely, or within 2 of The Lonely.
See,
Mr. Denton's right after The Lonely, but I haven't seen Mr. Denton on Doomsday. So.
What are you thinking, Nick?
I definitely think it's better than Judgment Night.
Like the 2 episodes are just so different. It's hard to put them in that same box. Like the Judgment Night is like it's all message. This one is popcorn.
And the sad thing is, like, a month from now we might think differently, which is kind of funny, but
yeah. But that's anytime you're in that moment.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think number 10 works. I think Mr. Denton on Doomsday is good, but I think the overall message is not as strong. I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter because there's not a really big message in this one, but
it's just really just which one did you, which one did you enjoy more? Which one would you, if I said, hey, you got to watch one of these right now?
Oh, this one probably.
There you go. There's your answer.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Jacob is wise.
I'm something.
Jacob is wise. Jacob is great.
Nick is a wise ass.
Jacob is a reviewer.
Yeah. Some would disagree with you, or they'd say some would say I was a bad reviewer.
No, man.
Well, you're both more actual reviewers than I am, so.
So with that said, we'll end it there because we might have to talk off screen, but no, I'm kidding. So with that said, number 10 is I Shot an Arrow into the Air. Number 1 still Walking Distance. Number 15 is The Four of Us Are Dying. The next episode, believe it or not, I know both of you guys have seen because it has been it's probably one of the most famous episodes in Twilight Zone history, is season 1 episode 16, which is The Hitchhiker.
Nice.
So I love this episode. Just gonna say right now, I think it's one of the best that ever was put out. But it is also an episode that, like I Shot an Arrow to the Air, doesn't have like a huge message. But like I said, this is definitely a January 1st type episode. So we'll talk about it then. So anyways, that'll do it. That'll be our take on season 1, episode 15, which is I Shot an Arrow into the Air. Once again, thank you for dealing with anybody who is dying of whatever sickness we seem to be having. It's pretty crazy. My throat is killing me right now. But Jacob, as always,
yes,
thank you for coming on. Tell us where we can find whatever strip club reviews you do. I guess I don't know what to have this week. So
well, there is the Purple Rhino in Lexington, Kentucky, or the Pink Pony right outside of Atlanta, Georgia. You can be found frequenting those, even though I live nowhere near any of them. Anyway, no, you can find me on the Tubes of You at Jacob Andrews Reviews, where I talk about movies. Some would say badly, some would say you're right. So if you like talking about movies that you probably never heard of in some cases, come on by and drop a like and a subscription if you like it, or don't, or you can hit dislike. It doesn't really matter anymore.
True.
I'm on Twitter at redneville2. That's it. That .com, right? It's just at redneville2. Yeah, those are the only places you're really going to find me. I'm lazy. I need to do more. But yeah, check out my YouTube channel. That was a terrible, terrible plug for myself, but that's my channel in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. You want some more incomprehensible, like just banter? There you come on by.
Jacob is awesome. His channel is very good, and you should go check it out because he does a wide range of awesomeness that has anything that you might want. And same with The Man Above Me. Nick puts out incredible content. He covers a lot of new stuff. He does Endings Explained. He does trailer reacts, and he does them in a competent way that a lot of reviewers can't touch.
See, she already had that shit written out, and she just read that. Oh, I'm over here like, .com. I don't.
I'm a good hype beast. I gotta go.
They're great. Go check them out too.
And Triv, now we go to you.
She's turning it on.
That's all you need to know about me. No, you can. Oh shit! It won't stop.
And that's why she's laughing in control.
Oh god.
Oh.
Anyway, You can find me on YouTube at Trivial Theater. I do quite a wide range of random, obscure, and straight up bad movies. Coming into December, obviously doing a lot of Christmas stuff. So stay tuned because I got a full rest of the month planned in that respect, both regular reviews and collabs. Also, you can find me on Twitter at trivia_chick.
Exactly. And once again, congratulations on your
thank you.
Your growth there.
Yeah, 12 away from
not little
800.
growth, but yeah.
Oh my God.
Go subscribe now.
Damn near doubled my channel size.
Exactly. Soon you'll be outpacing us, which I hope.
Shush. No, I doubt that.
Nick I just noticed yesterday or today you're approaching 3,000.
Congratulations, man. We love you. 3,000.
So anyways, no, I'm kidding. I'm happy about it, but like I said, I need viewers and stuff like that. So that the subscribe's cool, but so anyways, where was I going with it? I don't even know where I was going with it. I need to take some medicine again. So anyways, with that said, hopefully next week goes a little bit better with my throat, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of the Fifth Dimension of Twilight Zone podcast. Wow.
Oh, don't forget to check out audio. Don't forget to check out audio.
Oh, yeah. Rate, subscribe, 5 stars, Apple Podcasts.
Right, but make sure to check out where you find quality podcasts. That's where you'll find us.
Yes, I'm gonna have Triff start doing that because I keep forgetting it. So, anyways, with that said, as I die, peace out, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, you guys ready?
Yep, let's do the thing.
I'm gonna be. Let's do the thing. Do this shit.
Let's do it hard and fast and deep.
I'm not gonna
just go deep with that girthy Zoom call.
Girthy, yeah.
I know it's going at the end.
Oh God, damn it!
Girth.
Fucking hell.